Good morning, everybody. How is it going? We're gonna go ahead and take a look at the game that I went to check out like 2 weeks ago. I'm sure you all remember, right? I was really excited about that. Now, let me go ahead and say this right away, though. This video is not paid for. This video is just me making this video because I asked on Facebook if anyone is interested in seeing something about the game I went to go check out, and people were like, sure. I mean, that sounds cool enough. So that's why I'm making this video, right? Nothing here is paid for, and you will notice that my opinion is pretty fucking honest because I'm not gonna hold back and I'm gonna tell you about everything. So yeah, now let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? The first thing we did when we got there is just we kind of got a little tour around the offices, which was cool, I guess, right? Not really that relevant. Then they had a presentation, and then we basically just got to play. It was honestly just a high-class LAN party. Really nothing special there. Now, the thing is that all of the footage you can see in this video is provided by them, right? I have nothing else I can work with. I can only use the footage that is provided by them. That means that one part of the game that I really want to talk about is actually excluded because I didn't include any footage of it, and that is the hero builder, or the mech builder, bot builder, whatever you want to call it. And as a result, all I have to work with is a little bit of weird sideways footage of it, but we'll get to that later, right? Just so you guys know, I don't have any straight up in-game footage of that. Anyway, let's actually go ahead and get into the game then, shall we? So this is Dropzone. You can see that we have 3 heroes that we control. It's a one-on-one game. So these are not 3 players. This is 1 player playing all 3 heroes. Now, these heroes have one big objective, and that is kill hives, which is what they're called. These are these big worm things, right? Look very surgy. You kill these hives around the map, which then drop little orbs, and you collect these orbs and then put them into the middle of the map, which gives you a point after a short little channel. Now, whoever has the most points after 15 minutes wins the match. So the game is played according to points. Right, it's really that simple. Whoever has the most points wins. Now, this is not the only way to get points. There are also quests at the bottom left corner, as you can see. Right, there's always 3 quests available. You can see in this game we have Eradicate, Total Vision, and Alpha Strike. Now, whoever fulfills the requirements for this quest first gets the quest. Right? Gets the bonus points from that. And that's another way you can actually acquire points. So you can see this guy is gonna go ahead and put an orb into the middle, which is called a dunk. And yeah, no, I'm not kidding. The developers refer to it as a dunk. Now, if you dunk your orb into the middle, then you get a point. And again, after 15 minutes, whoever has the most points wins. Which, if I'm honest, I don't like that at all. I hate that. I hate playing for points. It feels incredibly unsatisfying. But at the same time, it's an interesting concept, I feel. Right? So you can see that guy's gonna go ahead and kill the hive, pick up the orb, and then transport it into the middle. Now, you can be interrupted while channeling. Right? There are not many stunts in this game, at least from what I can tell. And the stunts that are in the game tend to be kind of difficult to pull off. Right? They tend to be skill shots. So actually, most of the things in the game are skill shots. Oh, we're gonna have a little fight right here. So we have our big guy on the run. That's the character that almost everybody played, by the way. You see that big spider tank? Yeah, almost everybody used him, no matter what. He's just very, very good. But yeah, you can see that our blue player now is in kind of a sticky situation. He has his 3 units all with an orb, and he's trying to get them into the middle. But he actually can't really do that because the red player is kind of stalling him out, so we'll engage in a fight right here. Now, each unit has 4 abilities, right? Similar to regular Dota or League or Heroes of the Storm or whatever, right? 4 abilities, and they level them up as they go through the game. Now, they're gonna go ahead and grab a kill right there, and then the other one is gonna be sold out. Nice fighting right there, actually, gotta admit, that was pretty solid. Oh, it seems like he's even gonna get another one. Boom! Double kill! Fucking sick! So he's gonna go ahead and use this time to dunk his thing into the middle here, and then use his robots to capture those 2 flag points, right? As you can see at the bottom left, Total Vision. If you have 4 capture points, or 4 vision points, then you get 2 additional points, which is actually very much worthwhile. So he's just gonna go ahead and grab those 2 points because he managed to get 2 kills on the enemy. Right, that's pretty fucking sick, let me be honest with you. Now, a thing about killing the enemy, by the way, that doesn't actually do anything other than being dead. You don't get any gold, you don't get any experience, you don't get any benefits whatsoever except for killing the opponent. Which may sound like enough of a benefit, and honestly, it often is. But from my experience with the game, that is incredibly unsatisfying. It's really just not that fun to kill a guy and then not feel like you actually got rewarded for killing the guy, other than, well, he's dead now. Right, that was just my opinion though. Like, a lot of people disagreed with that, but that's kind of how I felt. And honestly, I felt like that very strongly. That was something that bothered me a lot. But that's probably just because of my Dota background, right? Now, you can see there are these like bigger creeps now. If you kill a hive multiple times, they respawn after a little while. The developers couldn't tell me what that little while is. Either they didn't know or they just didn't want to tell me. But they respawn after a little while, and after they respawn, right, they come back stronger. And then they have bigger units, scarier units. You saw something right there that's called an alpha, right? So those alphas, you gotta kill 9 of them for the alpha strike quest, and then you get 4 more points. Also, a bigger hive spawns more of the little orbs, so you can get more points that way. Now, one thing that is really important about this game is how the leveling system works. It's actually quite interesting, I think. So basically, you share levels across your lineup, right? Every character on your lineup gets the same amount of kind of experience, I guess, right? Like, you all get experience together. And when you have enough experience for a level up, then you can pick one of your characters to level up. You don't level up all at the same time. So as you can see, right, those 2 characters, they each got 2 points on top of their head, and then one had 3. Or here we go with one of the red guys having 2, and then the other one having 4, and the last one having just 1. Right? Again, you can pick who to level up. Now, oh, bit of a fight yet again. We're going in, the 2 big guys standing right on top of each other, pushing their static Q. That ability kind of just makes them stand in place and then deal a lot of damage. It's actually quite powerful. It's one of the main reasons why people pick that fella. Now, you can switch that around, but it's still really handy to have that. I will talk about the bot builder later. It's actually really important, I think. It's one of the major downsides of this game, I think. But again, we'll get to that in a little bit. Right now you can see, right, it's just a little bit of a skirmish in the mid, trying to keep each other away. Just gonna get the dunks in, right? Now, keeping the match close. Now, one thing you may have noticed is that people don't use that many spells in this game, right? Like, spells are used, definitely, but it's not like they're coming out constantly. That's because spells have a very long cooldown. All of them, right? They all have a very long cooldown. Some of them go up to 3 minutes or so. And 3 minutes in a game that lasts 15 minutes set, right? The only way to extend that is to go into overtime. Then it's really just not that often you get to use that spell, right? You're honestly just kind of gonna use it 2, 3, 4 times at most, and then that's it. And honestly, that's something, again, I found very unsatisfying about the game. You just use your spells very rarely, and I think spells make the game more interesting, right? I think spells make games interesting. I think spells are cool, and abilities are cool, and they just make it so that you can do more things, right? Like, if you have more options available to you, then things become cool. That's something I really like about Dota, where you can literally buy spells constantly, right? Most items in the game have some sort of active component to them, and as a result, it always becomes interesting, like, how to manipulate those active components. Well, in this game, it's really not the case. Now, after you level up your heroes, right, they gain new spells. So every hero has spells available to them that you can pick in the hero builder. We'll again talk about that later. That become available at certain levels. So let's say our little level 1 guy, he has spells that become available at level 1. Right, so you only have to have him at level 1. Our level 4 guy, which is the one that you can see the red player is leveling up, is probably gonna have spells that become available in the later levels, seeing as the player is investing more into getting him buffed up. So something I liked to do a lot, basically how I played the game, and again, I was pretty successful. Out of all the people there, I had the second highest elo, so I was the second best player, I guess, right? I did not play against the guy that ended up being the highest ranking, which was a StarCraft Pro, so honestly I don't think I would have won. But I did beat a professional Warcraft player 2 times. And I overall was second best, right? So I think I have some basis on which I can talk about. But basically what my strategy was, is I built my heroes so that I could get 2 of them at level 2, and then they have all of their spells available, and the last one I maxed out. The last one I leveled up to level 5 as soon as possible, so I get his ultimate, which is very powerful. That's a strategy a lot of people use, so you can see Blue is actually going for exactly that. He has his characters built up in such a way that one of his classes, or one of his characters, is level 5 already, and the other 2 are level 2, because their spells are set up in such a way that they have both of them available at level 2. But again, that's hero builder nonsense, and it's a little weird. Now, what Blue did right there, while he was going into the bottom, and we saw Red take the orbs into the middle, is he killed the boss. So there are bosses on the map, one up at the top, one at the bottom, right? And they give you a damage buff. They increase your right-click damage by 100%, which is actually just insane. It's very, very powerful. Oh, seems we got another skirmish! We got the little stompy guy going into the middle. They're stomping right on top of each other. The heal's coming out! And it seems that Blue is going to lose the stompy guy. However, 2 from Red going down. The stompy guy and the healing guy. I don't know what they're called. Anyway, they both go down. And it seems that our Blue player is now going to use this opportunity to go and collect a bunch of orbs and put them into the middle. Now, something both players in this match are doing is they have the Trinity constellation of characters, right? So their characters are a healer, a tank, a damage dealer, right? So right there, both the damage dealer are going up against each other, and ooh, that should, nope, not quite the kill. Maybe he can get it though. Nice, he actually got it. Sick. That's a team wipe, right? But both sides got a tank, a healer, and a damage dealer. Those are the only classes available right now. Currently, there are only 9 characters in the game, but they plan on having more, right? I think they said like 15 or 25 or something like that, right? I think 15 was the goal they had for release. So there's definitely more characters coming, and there's more classes coming as well. But currently, it's just like a support, a damage dealer, and a tank. And that tends to be what people go for as well, right? It's just really, really effective to have this constellation of characters that allows you to do a lot. Now you can see that Blue is actually getting quite a few points right there. Yeah, having a team wipe like that is very powerful. Even though, again, it feels unsatisfying because you don't actually get any kills out of, like, any benefit other than them dying. You can then use this time to do some dunks. Now, that is something I don't really like too much about the game. You just kind of PvE a lot. Right, and now, I know that sounds a bit silly coming from me because I like farming in Dota, but farming in Dota I think is a little bit more interesting than this. In here there's no real patterns, there's no real crazy, okay, we gotta go about this way, gotta manipulate the creeps this way. This is just straight up walk to the camp and kill it, right, then take the orbs and go into the mid. If you get a kill on a guy, your strategy afterwards is not to like play some objective, your strategy is to just do what you would have been doing otherwise anyway, right? Except that he isn't bothering you anymore, so you can truly play full-on PvE. I think you can kind of see where my complaints come in. And this right here is the boss, by the way. This is, I know it looks a little lame for it to just share the texture with the other stuff, but again, alpha footage, they said this is just a placeholder, they'll put something cooler there, so yeah, definitely do that. There's a bunch of nice guys. And, oh, we got another skirmish! Tanky and Stompy guy going right on top of each other, but actually it seems that Blue wants to focus down the damage dealer from Red. Damage dealer from Red now diving forward. They do have the boss buff active. However, he's dropping pretty low. Now the healer is right in the front lines. On the retreat, the healer from the blue side. It seems that both sides are dropping pretty damn low, but the healer goes down. Now the damage dealer from blue, still once more, he gets the double dash with the nice little stun connection, throwing out the missiles as well. Gets one kill. The other two are dropping pretty damn low. Now, honestly, I don't know if they can fight this. The healing field coming out from the healer from the red side. Another dash forward. Blue definitely wants this one. He's zoning them out at the very least, keeping them away, stopping them from getting those stunts. But it seems that's gonna be the end of it. He has to just kind of retreat and drop it. Yeah, and then just go ahead and dunk it in. I think you guys can see why I don't really like playing 4 points, right? That's really my major complaint with the game right now. It's my main issue. Playing 4 points is just really boring. Now, I know I say I may make it sound like this game is horrible. It's actually not. It's pretty cool. It does have a lot of cool elements, right? I think having this one-on-one element is really cool. There's not a lot of games out there anymore that are just straight up one-on-one competitive. That's always really, really fun. And the game keeps you engaged like fucking hell. Right? You play this game, you're fucking playing this game right now, right? You can't do anything else. Right, like while I'm playing Dota and I'm not recording, I sometimes just got a fucking stream on the other side of the, like on the other screen. I just kind of occasionally glance at it because I got some time for that, right? In this game, there is no time for that. You play, and then you just keep playing, and there's nothing else you can do. You're centered on the game, you're centered on playing. Now, red is gonna win right here. This is another reason why I don't like playing 4 points, right? Like, at this point, blue knows, red knows, the game is over. There's no way he can get enough points before the timer runs out. It was a close match, but at the same time, like, those last 15 seconds are kind of just completely unnecessary, right? And there we go, Hyperion ends up losing. That's actually the guy I think that got first. So yeah, now let me go ahead and show you the footage I have of our little hero builder. Now, I'm just gonna keep looping this clip because honestly, I just have nothing else to show you. The hero builder is weird. That's something I think is an odd design decision, but that's how they want to do it, right? I even asked them about it. But the hero builder is basically the following. They have characters available, and each character has a passive, right? Has passive slots on top of that, and then has an ultimate. Now, apart from that, each character in a class can have all of the spells that every other character in that class has, right? So they all are kind of the same-ish, except for the ultimate and a few passive stuffs, abilities, nonsense, right? So they have passives and an ultimate that makes them unique. Now, personally, I don't like that, right? Because you limit design space. For example, in Dota, Pudge is a really, really cool hero because he has really nice fitting design, right? These spells work well together, they just make sense. Now, a Pudge, however, can't have, or like you can't make a hero on Dota that would have a spell like Hook and, for example, I don't know, Mirana Arrow at the same time. Or not even Mirana Arrow, what's a long-range stun, right? I don't know, Vengeful Spirit's stun, right? You couldn't do that, because then the Pudge ends up buying an Etherlens and just stuns a guy and hooks them in. That's bad design, but because Pudge doesn't have Vengeful Spirit's stun, you can have Pudge have that hook. Right? You're not limiting yourself because you're limiting the heroes. You're saying this hero can only do this, and that's why this hero is allowed to do these things, right? That's why Mirana is allowed to have an ultimate that makes everybody invisible. It's because she doesn't also have Slark's ultimate, right? It's because those things don't overlap. Now in this game, those things tend to overlap because you can constantly, or like you have all spells available on all heroes, right? And you can swap them out. So, since you can swap out the spells and just pick and choose what you want, you end up saying, well, we can't have this and this and this available to a hero, right? We can't create this spell because then it would create an overpowered combination with this other spell. But if the hero didn't have this other spell, then the first spell would just be an interesting design in the game. And this personally is something I don't really like. I wish they would step away from that, but I already explained that to them. I think this game is actually really interesting. I think it's pretty cool. And let's just go ahead and show you guys. Let me just go ahead and show you guys another match, so you get to see a little bit more. Alright, welcome to game number 2. This time between Hyperion. Hyperton? No, I think it's still Hyperion. I can't really read on my screen. It's pretty fucking small, but oh well. So, we're just gonna go ahead and get into this one. As you can see, again, a very similar, if not the same setup from both sides. Currently, this is just the best way to do it. And this actually goes back to the bot builder as well, right? I feel like that really kind of lends itself to min-maxing, and that kind of leads to just saying, well, this is the best build, this is how we're gonna do it, no matter what. And personally, I'm just not a big fan of that. But oh well. Enough about that. You may have noticed this game actually looks pretty fucking cool. I like the look of the game in of itself. I think it's pretty damn neat, right? I like the StarCraft-y style. I always liked the way StarCraft looks. I like the way this game looks. It's not like medieval fantasy-ish or whatever the hell. It's just like future space, robots, aliens. I kind of like that. I think it's cool, right? Now, a little bit of something I find about it though is that I feel like all of the heroes look very same-ish. Although you guys of course didn't really get to see more than the ones that we have right here, right, because they just keep, you know, people just keep picking the best thing right now. But I feel like the heroes often look very similar to each other. Something I like about Dota a lot, right? I feel like Dota does that really, really well, where all of the heroes just look very different. I think that's kind of sick, but oh well, right? So, now you can see both sides are kind of going for their orbs. They're just kind of like trying to establish a little bit of dominance and trying to get those early donks. Just getting a few points in here and there. Now, honestly, these very early points don't matter that much. They're not that relevant. Those very early points just, I don't know, oftentimes they just don't really come into play. In the last match, yes, because that was a very close one. Right, but unless the game is that close, oftentimes the game is decided by a larger margin than 1 point. And honestly, this early on, I personally have found it to be much more effective to simply go farm. Right? I know that sounds very much like me. Right? But I've just found it to be much more effective to simply say, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna go ahead and get powerful. And oh, seems like blue is on the run here. Seems he's actually gonna die. Yeah, that's a dead guy. Ooh, rip. Mismicroing that just a little bit. Right, but so what my strategy was while playing was I just instantly split up my entire group, right? And I sent my tank to a camp. I sent my my damage dealer to another camp, right, to a hive to kill that on their own. And then I sent my healer to just capture the 2 flag points, which also, if you haven't captured them before, those have creeps on them, right? So he kills those. That usually lets me have level 2 really quick on 2 characters, right? On my tank and my healer, because they both were set up in such a way that all of their abilities were available at level 2. And then I could use that to just kind of apply a lot of pressure on my enemy, right? Try to get some kills and mostly try to take away their farm. Now in this match you can see that, oh, it's gonna be a pretty close fight right here, but the first one goes down. Oh, the tank guy going in on the other tank guy. Spider-Man on top of Spider-Man. Seems that's gonna be it though. Red needs to retreat. Red just needs to fall back and leave it be. Now, if you have one of those orbs, by the way, and you die, then you lose the orb. Right, I think that much was probably expected. It is pretty damn obvious, but yeah, so you gotta be careful with that, right? You don't just wanna die and then lose the orb. That's a little bit awkward. But hey, what can you do about it, right? So, we got our little healer currently just kind of running around the map a little bit. This is really bad. If you're playing, you shouldn't do this, right? Like, there's most of the time there's a hive on the map somewhere, right? And you should always try to make sure that your characters are always going for those hives, that they are always fighting. There's basically always something to do. Now, not all the time though, right? Like, sometimes all the hives are dead and you can't really get into the middle because the opponent is sitting there. So you just kind of gotta figure out a way to actually break in there. But most of the time there are some creeps on the map to farm, and after a certain point, honestly, your characters can mostly solo the hives, right? Almost all of your characters should be able to do that. So if you just go for that, make sure you get those solo kills, you can actually really acquire a lot of experience, and experience is one of the most important factors in this game, right? Farming is very, very important. What Blue is doing right here, this is just keeping his entire army grouped up, is not necessarily the most effective way of going about it, right? Like, again, if for example he just took his damage dealer and just went to kill some other camp, some easier camp, he could kill both of them at the same time, right? The one he just did and the other one, and get more experience out of that. And experience is very, very important. Honestly, if you have a level or two ahead of your opponent in this game, then you just kind of win, right? That's just kind of it. And yeah, it's a little bit of something to keep in mind. Now, seems we're gonna have a little bit of a fight. Oh, that tank is slow though. Sitting in the middle, but oh, the heals actually. Heal coming out from somebody. I think that was actually the blue side healing up the red side. Yeah, the heals often tend to be just both sides at the same time, right? Oh, red dropping very, very low. The first one about to go down. It seems the second one is going to drop as well. Yup! Double kill for blue. Well, seems like red is still kind of hanging around. He wants a little bit more. But nope. That's not going to happen with the little helpers zoning him out. Now, a lot of spells in this game actually affect both sides, right? So, what you can see from the little healer guy, right? The little robot with the 3 green things there. He has an acid thing, right? Which just kind of like vomits some acid on an area. Then probably a passive and an AoE heal. That's just what people pick, right? That is just the best option, the best build for that character. And both of those things actually affect enemies as well. So the acid affect allies as well, and enemies, I guess, right? But like the acid deals damage to enemies and allies, and the heal deals damage to you, or heals yourself and enemies, right? I actually think that's a really, really interesting design decision though, right? Like having most things be friendly fire or enemy fire, depending on, you know, who you ask, right? How do you say that? If a heal affects an enemy, right? Is that friendly fire, enemy, whatever the hell, right? But anyway, that also leads to really cool positioning plays. I think that's awesome, right? I like that a lot of stuff is like that, where it really forces you to actually play really well during a team fight. If you don't play super well during a team fight, then you're just going to end up healing your opponent, or you're just going to end up dealing damage to yourself and losing. I always like that a lot. Another thing that I think is really, really cool is that that you can actually build your team in such a way that you don't need to micromanage every single character, right? So it's not a super intense micro game. So if you want to do that, you can. But for example, the way I build it is I had the tank in the front line, right? Now I just had him get 2 spells that I just need to push, right? I just push Q and W, and then he was done. He didn't need to do anything else, because he was just gonna sit there, do his Q and W, and then I just shift Q'd him to attack. And that's it. And that was his contribution during the team fight, right? And honestly, if I controlled him manually, it wouldn't get any better. So I just spent all of my attention on microing my my healer and my damage dealer, mostly my damage dealer, and I ended up winning a lot that way, because you can just simply snipe out individual targets really heavily, and then get a lot of damage in that way, right? Another thing in this game, you may have noticed this, but if you lose a character, right? Or if you down a character, you are not winning a fight. You're just not. There's no arguing about that. There's no question about that. If it's a 3 versus 2 fight, you're losing. If it's a 2 versus 1 fight, you're losing. If it's a 3 versus 1 fight, fuck it, don't even bother, right? It's just not going to happen. Another thing is, oftentimes people just leave these orbs on the map, right? Like, this happens a ton. By the way, yeah, you may say, well, why are they just leaving the orbs? Each character can only carry 1, and oftentimes you can't actually just get them all in. So you're forced to simply leave them around the map, because you have no proper way of dealing with it, right? Now, funny thing that actually happened is you can drop the orbs if you want to. You can just leave them, right? And also after you've picked it up, you can drop them. And a developer was playing against a guy that wasn't really there to play, just kind of like played a match, right? So what the developer did to kind of like not really fuck with him, but to kind of take it easy on him, is he just took all of the orbs and put them in his base, right? So he just went out to collect the orbs and just put them in his base and just let them, like, just left them there, right? But then in the end he had like 20 orbs in his base because he didn't dunk them into the middle. This game is very much skill-based. This game is very much a game where there's a big difference between somebody that is bad and somebody that is good. I don't really know what Blue is doing here. So you can see he has his little tank guy with an orb still. He should maybe have like tried to dunk that in. An important thing to note again is you can drop these orbs. Oh, we're gonna have another big fight. Yeah, this is a little tricky, right? Because like that blue tank is out of position. We have the healer trying to keep him alive, but that's just not going to happen. Now it's a 3 versus 2. Now it's a 2 versus 2. Oh, actually the damage dealer from Blue just kind of putting out the herd. Now the damage dealer from Blue has one ultimate that is just simply insane. Definitely the best damage dealing ultimate in the game. Currently at least, right? So that's another thing. You can see that Red is actually playing a different hero from Blue with the damage dealer, right? The one in the middle for both sides. The one on the right, it's some kind of lady, and the one on the left is some kind of black dude, right? The black dude is just infinitely better because his ultimate is just so much stronger, right? And the rest of the spells are the same, right? The rest of the spells they can have are the same, except for some minor passives. But since the rest of the spells are the same, and the ultimate from the black dude is better, there's almost no reason to ever pick anyone but him, right? So that's kind of an issue with the game a little bit. You need to carefully balance this. Like, they need to be really, really balanced, right? But the black dude has an ultimate that just pierces armor and just destroys even the tanks that deal so much damage. Honestly, I feel like Blue is winning here. Not because of necessarily better fighting. Like, I feel like in that last fight, Red honestly was doing fine, but Blue just had the better build, right? His characters are just built better. Again, that's one of those things with the hero builder, right? It just lends itself to having these issues with characters just being better, right? It's much easier to balance a game if you have everything under tight control like that. If you have... Oh, nice. Some bonus points for Boss Slayer right there. Right? But if I just have this hero, this hero, and this hero, then it's much easier to actually balance the game than it is if I have, okay, well, you know, these can have all of these spells and this guy can have all of these spells, right? I don't know. It's just like trying to balance Legends of Dota. Right, like what's easier to do, balancing Dota or balancing Legends of Dota? Like, holy shit, good luck trying to balance Legends of Dota, right? I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna have a dunk in the mid here. Boom! Red really coming to... yeah, really starting to get ahead here. Kind of a problem. Now Blue is using this time to farm up, right? And this may actually be the thing that decides the game. Now, at the same time, Blue needs to go in right now, and there we go, right? So, Blue sees that right now he's still in a spot where he can actually win. Because even though he is 3 points behind, all he needs to do is get some dunks in. There you go. He gets one in. His tank his damage dealer takes a lot of damage, but he activates his ultimate. You see that glowing ready thing around him? Yeah, that's his ultimate. That allows him to deal huge amounts of damage. And he's just tearing Red apart, right? There we go. That's a double kill. The tank is gonna go down. And that's basically game. The respawn times in this game are very long, right? So Blue now has however much time he wants to just completely finish this up and just keep dunking his stuff in there. And honestly, Red can't do much anymore at this point because it's just not really possible for him to catch up in points, right? I don't really know what Blue is doing here. He should be collecting some more orbs. Why are we watching? Why is this the game that they gave to us?
1 minute.
I should have taken some of my games against the Warcraft Pro. Those were fucking tight as shit. Oh well. Anyway, so that's Dropzone. I probably came off too negative, but I don't even care. I'm honest. These are my thoughts on the game. Hope you guys liked the video. Blue is gonna win here, because now all he needs to do, right, is there are no more quests, and there's just, you know, nothing Red can do. There's nothing. He needs to go collect an orb, and then go into the mid, win a fight, and then dunk the orb. He just doesn't have enough time, so the last minute of the game is completely unnecessary. But oh well. I think the game is cool. I think the game has a bunch of really sick, nice ideas, and I think there's a lot wrong with the game at the moment. I'm hoping they're gonna fix that stuff, right? Because I think this game has a lot of potential, right? It's just right now one thing I've noticed while talking to them is that they seem to be really, really stuck on that idea of having to do things differently, right? And that may not necessarily be the best way of going about it. But oh well, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Goodbye.